Hey everybody, Jerome, B.F.A.M cooking. You know what this is, not another cooking recipe, but an interview beyond the restaurant door. That's what this is. And I'm here today with Chef, very special person, Chef Davis Lewis. Is that correct, sir? Junior.
That's right.
Okay.
Davis Lewis Jr.
All right. So, sir, I'm to understand that you one of those guys that are out there doing the hotness with the plates that are coming out. You do a little bit of that American cuisine, a little bit of that Caribbean. Tell me a little about yourself, sir. What are you doing?
Right now, I love cooking. I love cooking. I love reinventing food. I love, especially Caribbean cuisine. My parents are Haitian. I'm first generation Haitian American. So, a lot of what I do is heavily influenced by Haitian cuisine and also Caribbean cuisine. Ever since I remember making food, I've gone to Jamaican houses and Guyanese houses and Haitian houses and learned, ate, and filled my belly with all the best foods that I could ever find. So, eating good food has never been a bad point for me. It's creating the best looking dishes that I love, imparting my own creativity in the culture. Yeah,
Wow, wow. So when did you start cooking? How did you get into cooking?
I started cooking at the age of 10 years old. I've
10.
always, yeah, at 10 years old, I was always a heavy kid. I wanted to know how to make my own favorite foods. So just standing by my mom's side saying, "Mom, how do I make this? How do I make that?" My very first memory is her showing me how to make rice and beans. You
Rice and
know,
beans. All
rice and
right.
beans. That's a staple in any Caribbean cuisine.
Oh,
So that was
I'm
my
liking
very
this.
first thing. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So
So
where was
right,
that at, sir?
that was in Queens, Far Rockaway. That's
Aha,
that's
local.
definitely local.
Mm.
So yeah, growing up in the projects actually, standing by mom's side, feeding the family. It was a family of six kids, a dad and her. We didn't have a lot, but she said as long as we have rice in the house, you can always eat. So she taught us how to do that, chicken, and then after that, learning all other Haitian aspects of cuisine. And then after
Like,
that, there's griot, which is marinated pork. It's marinated, cooked, then deep fried, usually with plantains on the side. We call
mm-hmm,
it banan,
mm-hmm.
banan peze. What else do we have? We have labouille. We have sauce pois. We have diricole. There's so many different cuisines that we have. Poisson sel, which is fish in sauce. So there's a lot of different things that I've loved over my many, many years that in my food now that I always add a little something back into it.
Yeah, yeah, that all sounds that sounds fantastic, man. But so let me understand is you're doing what did you do? You're working where now exactly? Tell me a little
I'm
bit about your past.
in my past, I've been actually I started in labor law, but then I this is my second career. I got laid off back in 2010. I was doing catering on the side, and then when I got laid off, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pursue culinary full time, all the time.
Oh,
So I went back to culinary school, SECC in Schenectady, New York, and from there I've branched to work at Disney. I've worked in Kentucky, did the Kentucky Derby a couple of times. I worked in Michigan, in Mackinac Island. I was in the heart of the Catskills in Margaretville, New York.
yeah,
So
I saw that write up. You sent that over. That's pretty
yes,
nice.
yes, so I've been all over the place, just learning different things from different chefs on how to better myself and better cuisine in general. So that's something that I love doing is just cooking. I'd rather make burgers 20 times a day than push out some papers. So it's
Yeah, yeah,
good stuff.
boy, don't I know. I understand that completely. You're doing something that's coming up. You're coming back to the island here. I don't mean Haiti. I mean Long Island. Coming out here to make some food. So hopefully I'll get a chance to get up in there and see what you guys got.
Def-
What you're doing. So what's going on Long Island?
Definitely. I have a friend of mine who has a restaurant in Glen Cove, New York. So I don't get down to the city frequently, but he invited me to come down and do a guest spot. We're still working on dates and how we want to present everything to everybody, but um, We're going to be doing a lot of the dishes that I have on my Instagram or on my Facebook,
Oh
and a
yes,
couple
I'm
of
ready
new
to eat some of
ones.
that.
Definitely,
I
definitely.
was looking at that Instagram saying, okay, I need a knife, a fork,
Oh
give me a
yeah.
spoon. We can
As
get
long
in
as you
there.
have your hands, you're going to be 100% okay. You know,
Okay, all
you
right.
know.
Well,
But I'm also reinventing a couple of classic Haitian dishes. You know,
like,
there's one called soup jumeau, which is butternut squash soup, where it's never been reinvented, at least the way I've seen it. You know,
okay,
so I'm working on two different recipes, and I think I'm gonna have both of them there. You know, and getting the stamp from the Haitian community on those are gonna be really really cool.
that sounds fantastic. I just put out a butternut squash recipe myself.
Oh, nice.
Very, very, very. Well, we won't say. It'll just be. It's basic. It sits in there, and it's a nice thing that you can have to warm you up when it's around that soup time, beginning of November for us. Those
Excellent.
hard vegetables. You know.
Definitely, definitely.
But so butternut squash, and you were getting ready to say, tell me another one that you're working on. You want to reinvent?
Oh, the one I'm reinventing now, this one is more of a Jamaican cuisine, is jerk pork.
Jerk
Um,
pork.
right, because normally, you know, jerk pork tastes amazing, the rice is amazing, the sides are amazing, but you know, usually if you do it for photos, it never looks the best. So what I did, actually I did it for Thanksgiving for myself. I kind of reinvented the dish a little bit. Did a little bit of stir fried vegetables with Israeli couscous over jerk pork on top, you know, and then
Wow.
did a
So
jerk.
what cut of pork is that?
It's pork butt, pork
Pork
butt.
butt. Okay.
In Jamaican cuisine, they use any part of the pork, whether it's pork butt, pork shoulder. I've seen people do it pork belly and pork loin. I personally like pork butt because it's just way more flavorful. And you know the fats, you know, just add so much more flavor to the dish. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So what would you say would align itself to the flavor of Haitian or Caribbean cuisine? What is that key note flavor that says this is Haitian or this is Caribbean?
I would just it would have to be, there's not one line, it's a mix of flavors. If you're familiar with Indian cuisine, and Indian cuisine has like this note of flavors that goes throughout the
Oh,
food.
wait, before you go there. So what you said Indian cuisine, you mean Indian, West Indian, Indian,
I'm talking
Native
about
American, or
I'm talking about in Asia, Indian,
in
yes.
Asia? There we go.
Right.
Okay, we
You
got to,
know,
you can't just throw out Indian and call it a day,
correct.
because we get around.
Definitely, like, you know, if you ever had Indian food, they have a very unique balance when it comes to spices. And Caribbean West Indian cuisine has the exact same thing on a different note. You know, we're not heavy on spices, but we're heavy on herbs, aromatics, onions, garlic, thyme, sage, coriander, things like that that add a nice earthly tone to a lot of your meats. You know, we do chicken a lot, we do beef, we do goat, those things like that. You know, there's a nice balance between just using spices and also aromatics and uh, herbs themselves
Okay, so we would just bring it all, huh? Is that that's
all
what
the
we're
time.
talking about?
All the time. It's
Oh,
definitely a melting pot. So it's a
so is
unique.
there I think when I think Caribbean, I think there's gonna be some heat in there. There's some heat in there? What kind of heat are we talking about?
With me personally, I love habanero. Um,
Habanero.
habanero. That's the upper scale of the Scotch bonnet family. You know, they're kind of cousins. Scotch bonnet and habanero. Habanero is on the upper scale of it, but Scotch bonnet is usually the heat that you're gonna find in most Caribbean dishes. They won't do it all the time, but every once in a while, if you want a little bit of heat, it's gonna be a Scotch bonnet. In Haitian cuisine, we have this thing called pickles, which is pickled cabbage slaw that's made with habaneros. It's onions, Scotch bonnet. I use habanero personally, a little bit of lemon juice, vinegar, peppers, salt, and it's a great topping that goes on top of things. I
So
personally have. Mhm.
so I saw on your Instagram you have some fermented stuff that
Yes,
look like some type of cabbage or something like that. Is that what we're talking about?
that's exactly what I'm talking about. I have,
Okay, all
I
right.
had the traditional one is the cabbage without any just with the cabbage, the onions, the peppers, and the salt and pepper. I have another variation of that, which is I call it pickly woods. It's made with a red cabbage and it has a sweeter element to it, which marries well with sandwiches, barbecue, smoked foods. So I'm hitting both genres. You know, especially being American born, you have to be able to
To
marry
throw
with
that
American food.
flavor,
Yeah.
American cuisine is. I've been looking at what I like about culinary
Mhm.
and me personally, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, I like French food,
Yep.
obviously, because I like the fancy. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong.
Right.
I like the Italian food because obviously I have a lot of Italians around me and I know what that is, right? So I've been to Italy, I've been to France, but I'm not Italian. I'm not French.
Right. Right.
And I grew up trained by my grandmother, my great aunt, how to cook something, get in that kitchen and make something, and it's not necessarily Southern, but it's like something. What is it that is this thing? Then I got this book recently from Marcus Samuelson called The Rise. I don't know if you saw this one yet,
Right. I
right?
haven't seen that.
Right, but he's talking about what is African American cuisine, right,
Mhm.
in general, and then he says African American cuisine is the base of American cuisine, and he
Right.
calls it's the fusion. And I go, that's it exactly. That's why I can't figure out what it is I like because I like it all, and it's all American.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's that's American cuisine. We like a little bit of French, like a little bit of Italian. We like German. We like you know uh obviously Caribbean. We want it all to be together and all meshed. And that fermented cabbage sounds like a
Mhm.
little bit of a thought of what the Japanese do and the Koreans do with
Kimchi.
kimchi.
Yep.
And then you put that in with it, and it's like fusion. It's American.
Correct.
That
Correct.
makes it so American,
Correct.
which is what I love.
The biggest fusion, if you want to think about it, is Cajun Louisianan food.
Well,
That's
that
the
too.
history that some people tend to skip over, but a lot of Haitian influences are in Louisiana and Cajun food.
Very, very
So
similar. If I remember correctly, that's pretty close in water. That's what
yeah, definitely,
there's a
definitely.
little bit of
Hop,
hop,
skip,
skip, and a
definitely,
jump right
definitely,
to it.
definitely.
So I'm just saying. I think that American cuisine is a little bit almost too expansive because we try and take everybody's stuff and put
Correct.
it all in our little category. But in a way, that's who we are, right? I mean, we
Definitely,
are a stew of people, and
definitely.
sometimes you have large potatoes of people, and sometimes you have little bit of carrots of people. But if you take any one of those things away,
Mhm.
you're losing something. So that
Definitely.
flavor that's
You
there.
might lose something, but you know what? We make up with it in the culture, because we love the food no matter what. You
Right.
know, um, for Thanksgiving, you have people making mac and cheese with Thanksgiving. It's not That's not traditional Thanksgiving food, but we love it.
what what is traditional Thanksgiving food, my friend?
Right.
I mean, you look, come on, they made all that stuff up anyway. I mean,
Right.
turkey. Why is turkey traditional
Exactly.
Thanksgiving food? I know in my household, my great aunt used to make turkey and ham. Right. So
Yep.
what does that tell you about her? I mean, it says that she's
Definitely.
Southern. You
Right.
know.
My mother
Yeah.
used to do the same thing. And this Thanksgiving, I just did the jerk pork for my Thanksgiving. I didn't even do the turkey. So
There
yeah.
you go. And for like, I mean, you have the same holiday meal for things for Christmas as you would if
Oh no, I'm always going to keep it sexy with the food. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to change it. This year I think I'm going to do a whole fish.
whole
Um,
fish.
yeah, Haitians and Caribbean people were really big on red snapper. So I think I want to get a good sized red snapper and probably play around with that one. And
But
definitely,
you said what do you score it and then deep fry it?
I'm probably going to do it two ways. I'm probably going to. I mentioned poisson sel. Well, they usually make that in a sauce with it's a more tomato based sauce, done with tomato paste instead of marinara. And then Jamaicans have escabeche. If you ever had Jamaican escabeche, which
Uh,
is
Escabeche. So
not
so
escabeche.
oh
Escabeche is Spanish.
oh
Escabeche is the Jamaican one, which
okay.
they're very very similar but different. Where it's
So tell me
again
what yours is or what you're
They're
trying to
they're both pickled. They're both
pickle.
pickled, but with the Jamaican way is carrots, onions, sauteed in pickling spices, and then it's presented on top of the fish itself. That
Hmm.
adds a nice little citrus note to the fish. Usually it's deep fried. Mine is going to be pan seared, so that's going to be my own twist in traditional Jamaican cuisine.
But
And
still on the
with
bone and stuff like that. You're not filleting it and frying it, are you?
it's gonna be on the bone, yes.
On the bone. Okay.
Mhm.
So they I mean Asian cuisine has a deep fried fish that's very similar to that also. Would your fish be spicy or would it be plain and then you put all the spice on top?
Mine is always going to be a little spicy. Cayenne pepper is always in my house.
Okay.
But when I'm cooking for people, I always pay attention to the palate because my heat index is way higher than most people. So I know how to toe that line to make sure that it's flavorful. You get your spice note, but it's not burning your palate at the same time.
Would you, if I were to ask you this question, man, what cookbook everybody should have on their in their cooking library? What book would that be?
It's not Nadez Fleurmont, Haitian culinary book. It it takes you through a whole array of what Haiti is and the food and the influences. She wrote it a couple years ago. I bought a book. I had all my family buy a book, and it's just a great history lesson of food in Haiti. So she's a great chef in her own right. I met her a couple of years ago through my sisters, and she's doing great things with her own within her own right.
Cool, cool. And for yourself, sir, who would you say are your culinary influences besides the lady you just mentioned?
Actually, I would have to say it's my mom and my sister. Believe it or not, um, I make food look better than my sister, but I can't touch her flavor profile. Like
Really?
she's great. I'm not even gonna lie. Her name is Julie. She's great when it comes to food. One time, my mother herself, the hands that she has. One time I had her make white rice for me, and I was
Hmm.
like, I can't duplicate it. White
Really?
rice, white rice. I was like, I can't. As all the skills that I have with cooking, I'm cooking, and I'm like, Mom, I can't do that. you know. So, and between my mom and my sister, flavor wise, food wise, they are the best. I follow other chefs too. There's Gordon Ramsays of the world and everything like that, and they're great. And they push me to present my food to look better. But when it comes to flavor and traditional food, it's definitely my mom and my sister.
Outstanding. You know what they say? You can't do better than home, man. You cannot do better than home. If my great aunt was still alive, I tell you, she put. I won a cooking competition myself for fried chicken,
Yep.
and she put me to shame. I know she would, and it would definitely be a thing I'll be proud to let go. She's
Definitely.
that it's just it is just what it is.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you one more question here. I was thinking, if you let me look at this. See, I got a bunch of questions I could be asking. I want to get you the perfect one. What is the worst ingredient to fill a burrito, my friend?
Oh, the worst ingredient to fill a burrito. Let me see. I would say anything seasoned with rosemary. I'm not a fan of rosemary.
Rosemary
anything
burrito.
anything
That
seasoned
would
with
be
rosemary.
crazy.
I am not a fan of rosemary at all.
All right, but so what do you do now? Now that we know that you're doing something, how are we going to find out about it? Tell me a little bit about your social, how people get back to you to find out what you're
Definitely.
doing next.
Definitely. I'm on Facebook, Dave Davis Lewis Jr. Or you find Dave, you'll find my crazy face on there. And also I'm on Instagram at D Lewis LOUISJR. And also I have my professional page, which is chef_DLJ. All my things are on there, whether it's a product or my up and coming guest chef event that I'm going to be doing. Hopefully after this COVID stuff kind of dies down. But in the meantime, I'm going to be working on new dishes. You're going to see the dishes that I'll be doing in Glen Cove, New York, very shortly on there.
Well,
All the new dishes, all the soups, all the appetizers, it's coming to you real fast.
well, wait. Maybe next time or another time we can get together. Maybe we'll do a little share a kitchen thing. You get me in there and let me see what you're doing. Let me see what you're working with.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Because
I
at
I
least until
love being in the
COVID's
kitchen.
done.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
definitely, definitely. I love being in the kitchen with people. So yeah, definitely, I would love that. We
Yeah.
could do your
Well,
fried
wait,
chicken.
wait, wait. I'm not coming till this.
Right. I hear you.
Show me, because
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
hiding out in the basement. I know it looks like I'm in the kitchen, but I'm hiding in the basement. I plan on
Definitely.
being there afterwards. So
Oh yeah.
nothing else is going on. You can just hit me up. I'd love
Mhm.
to hear more about what's happening with you. If you have any other speaking engagements or any other engagements, maybe we could get together, do another one of these episodes, giving my guests and my people an update as to where you're at. Besides,
Definitely, I would love that. Definitely, I would love that. Thank you.
great. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's been a pleasure. So everybody, B.F.A.M cooking, you know what this is. This guy over here, he's throwing out some stuff in Glen Cove, New York. Want to wait and see what that's going to be about? Let's get at it. Talk to you later.